Hey, what's going on? Ryan here, Set to Base Triathlon on a wonderful Tuesday. Doing a little live here to do kind of a tip of the week, quick Facebook Live tips. We're all probably, I don't know about you guys, but here in Kansas City, the weather's starting a little bit cooler and looking at off season and winter, aside from the whole pandemic and coronavirus thing. A lot of people will be kind of heading indoors, and a lot of people run into that conundrum of, do I need to get a smart trainer to be able to use platforms to do indoor cycling? And the answer is no. At least for Zwift, you can use a non-smart trainer, a classic trainer. Some people like to call them dumb trainers. I don't like to call them dumb trainers. I just call them classic trainers. So you got your, I used to have a Fluid 2 Cyclops. If you got a magnetic trainer, a wind trainer, or anything like that, something that is not a smart trainer that cannot be controlled by other devices, even if you have a trainer that has the little clickable adjustments on it. I always like the Fluid 2 because you could shift your gears on your bike and change resistance on it. It's kind of closer to riding on the road. So I just want to go over quick little tips how to use Zwift with classic smart trainers. So I'm going to switch this around. As you can see, I've got Zwift up on my laptop. So the things you will need is a speed sensor. I've got this from Garmin that I use on my bikes for my wheels. And you also need Ant Plus, especially if you're using the speed sensor for Garmin. I've got an Ant dongle that connects to my laptop, so I can get Ant signals to connect the speed sensor to my computer. So if you're already on here, and I'm using this one, I've disconnected my smart trainer so it doesn't show up or anything. But if you hit search, I've got my speed sensor, so if I move it around, it should show something here. Hopefully it comes to life. So there you go. You see the speed sensor. They kind of, if you go on the Zwift website, they suggest using a 700 by 23C bike tire. So I would suggest using that. If you don't, you can go through and you can pick, there's different tire sizes, if you're using mountain bikes or maybe a hybrid bike or something of that nature. So try to pick something that is close to what you're using. So you pick OK. And then you can go on here and conveniently, they've got all different kinds of non-smart trainers, classic trainers listed that you can choose from. What they've done is they've gone through and done power curves based on these trainers and bikes and power meters. They've come up with curves. So it's not going to be exactly precise as riding your trainer, your smart trainer with a built-in power meter, or perhaps using, if you don't have a power meter on your bike, you can use it this way as well. So let's just say you had a Fluid 2, hit that, hit OK. So what it's doing is it's replacing a power source or a controllable trainer with the speed sensor, so you don't even have to have that device. You don't have to have a cadence. You can have your heart rate or whatever. But then you can go through, and we're just going to ride. Hopefully this doesn't take forever. But we'll go over some other tips while it's loading. So you won't have the full experience. Like I said, it won't be a controllable trainer, but you'll get a power output on the screen when you're riding. It's not going to be nearly as accurate because you're using a speed sensor instead of an actual power meter to get that reading. So if you don't have a power meter, you've got a classic smart trainer, it's not a problem. You can still do it. But like I said, it's not going to be as accurate. Most bikes, as long as you have a speed sensor on the rear wheel, if it's wheel mounted, and most classic trainers are wheel mounted, you'll be okay. It supports classic trainers, but you need to check that list. If yours isn't on there, then there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to get accurate information. If you don't have one that's on the list, you can just pick one and kind of, wing it a little bit. Zwift will estimate the power. Like I said, they've done power curves on all these trainers based on power meters and bikes and everything. So they've gone through and just kind of figured out what the curves are at different speeds for these bikes. If you got your cadence sensor, you can hook up as well. That gives a little bit better information. But they always suggest make sure your tires are fully inflated. Make sure you try to use a 700 by 23 C tire because that's how they've run all their tests and all their curves. So as close as that as possible. If you don't have that, it's not the end of the world, but they highly recommend it. Make sure you properly tighten your trainer knob, so you make sure you get that proper tension on there, because if you don't have full contact on it, it's not going to get the right power. The readings will just be a little bit off. And then make sure you have the correct resistance settings. You know, if there's extra knobs or adjustments or anything on your trainer, that you have that opportunity, you can change it. And Zwift is up. Let's check back. So what you'll see here is if I move my speed sensor, get this going up pretty good here. 425 watts. I mean, we're just shaking it back and forth like it would be on a wheel, 204 watts. So basically what I'm doing is, all I've got is a speed sensor and an ANT dongle on my laptop. And here I am in the Zwift experience. You can go through, hit the menu. You can do a workout. These are all the workouts that I have loaded on this computer. So if you wanted to do this guy, so you could do these. I mean, you could go, but you're going to be warning detected tire slippage, power will be. See, so that's the important part, is making sure your trainer is tightened all the way down, you have the right tire speed and everything. So basically you could run a workout on here and you could try to hit the targets. It'll give you your warm-up target of 92 watts, and you know, I'm shaking this around 172 watts. So you get these kind of warnings, you know, if you've got something squirrely going on. But in a pinch, if you got a classic trainer, you don't have a smart trainer, you don't need one. You can use a classic trainer, especially on the Zwift platform. You can run workouts on it. You can go on there, you can ride the courses, you can all kinds of things and still use your trainer. You don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars to get the high-tech trainer over the winter. You can get it done. Like I said, it's not going to be as accurate, but it's better than maybe being on the trainer just watching TV and not really having any targets in mind or anything other than just mindlessly riding on your trainer over the winter. Volume is good, but undirected workout intent on the volume isn't necessarily as good. Trust me, I learned it the hard way back when I was starting off doing full Ironman training for Ironman Texas over the winter in my basement. You know, I'd be on that thing for 4 hours, but wasn't really feeling the full effects of if I had targets, if I had a reason to do the ride or something like that, other than just doing time on a bike. So that's my quick tips for getting your classic trainer on Zwift, being able to use it to the full capability. So if you got any questions, put them in the comments, send me a message or anything like that, and I'll look it up and try to get the most accurate info out to you. With that, enjoy the rest of your training, enjoy your week. We'll talk to you later.